All right, y'all. Today, we're going to talk about a scenario I think most of us faced and really just break down what trust in the workplace is. It's that moment when your project goes off the rails and communication is all over the place and everything that started this collaboration starts just to feel shaky. And it's not about fixing the project anymore. It's really about rebuilding relationships. And that's what I want to explore in this video today. So, ask yourself, have you ever been in a situation where trust just kind of goes all over the place and you're faced with damn, now I have the challenge of having to repair this relationship? How do you navigate that when it comes to work? What I want to do, though, I'm going to give you guys a story that I've actually went through. I'm going to, I'm about to just take y'all down memory lane or whatever, right? So, just imagine this. I won't say names, but a critical project you're involved with is failing, and there's significant trust breakdown between you and your key partners. You kind of feel man, they're constantly missing deadlines. They're not communicating effectively anymore. What's actually going on? And on the other hand, you feel man, I don't want to be micromanaging and not understanding their real challenges. This is where you get that toxic environment. That's how the toxic environment starts. Now, put yourself in this actual situation. How would you approach a situation like that? You know something has to be changed, but then you begin with introspection. So you have to try to understand the root cause. Is it their behavior? Is it your management style? Or is it a mix of both? Do you ever ask yourself that question? Do you realize that you need to have an open and honest conversation, but you have to approach it with caution? Do you ever sit down with your team and, again, not play the blame game, but you try to understand them? Have you ever noticed that, deadlines, when they're slipping and communication seems all over the place, it seems to be a lot harder to talk about what's happening? You don't really share your concerns as much. You're not focusing on the impact of the project or actively listening to, the perspectives. Like I said before, this is it's not easy, but it is one of the first steps towards rebuilding your work relationships. So if we were to say, all right, let's stop and pause and really dissect that first thing that I just covered. It was a lot. It might have went through one and out the other. But ask yourself, what makes open dialogue so crucial? It's really about creating a safe space for vulnerability. So you have to be able to articulate your concerns without playing the blame game. Right? You have to invite collaboration and problem solving with the right approach. Are you active listening? Are you demonstrating respect and a genuine desire to understand someone else's point of view? Because when you do that, this sets the stage for mutual understanding and potential repair. So I mentioned introspection. By that, I mean you have to identify the root cause of the trust breakdown and then have respectful dialogue. If you don't have respectful dialogue and you just go in pointing fingers, you're never going to get anywhere. And then you're not going to even be able to have that environment of openness. So you have to choose the right words and the tones, and then make sure you get to understanding each other, because the conversation is going to be tough, but it can be productive if you do it the right way. When you're in these situations, do you ever acknowledge your part when you're in the wrong? I mean, when you're having tough conversations, do you acknowledge your part? That's really what I'm getting at. You redefine the roles, you set the clear boundaries, and you agree on the communication plan. That's when things get tense, because you're not really mediating correctly. You're just kind of all over the place, right? You have to try to stay focused on finding solutions and not playing the blame game. Do you agree that regular check-ins are a good approach to problem solving? I feel like that's something that's always worth asking. You have to really dive deep into this. Really ask yourself when it comes to collaborating and getting those collaborative solutions. Do both parties contribute to finding a resolution, or is it just one person dictating everything? Is there any sense of ownership? Do you allow a sense of ownership, or are you redefining roles and boundaries and providing that clarity? These are all questions that you have to ask yourself. And I'm also asking you as you're watching this, do you do these things? Right? Because at the end of the day, the work stage is all about building a bridge, not burning it. Do you build bridges or do you burn bridges at work? It's up to you. It's completely up to you. The other thing that you have to think about is do you Focus on compromise and commit to that. A lot of times, a lot of people don't want to budge. They will die on any hill. So you have to think like, man, how do we do this? Do we have to get a third party involved just to make sure that we can have like some objective like stances done? Is that what we have to do? Because rebuilding trust isn't something that's going to happen overnight. You set clear, achievable goals, you have timelines, and then you make it measurable. That's what you have to do to build that. Even treat trust like a project, basically. So you go make sure to acknowledge everybody else's efforts. That's something that you have to do as a leader. You have to make sure they're doing good. You meet regularly. You provide the progress updates. And then you celebrate those small wins. Because at the end of the day, patience is going to be key. And we're all going to have setbacks. But how you handle them is going to be the main difference of what happens at the end. So start to consider that. You want to just consider that practical application. It's as simple as that, practical application. And this is why consistency is so important, because trust is built through those repeated positive interactions, even if they're small. That's what's going to make the big difference. So make sure that communication is regular. Make sure everyone's aligned. Make sure everyone is informed. And then acknowledge those efforts. Constantly do that. Make sure you acknowledge the effort. That counts. Because you have to remember that rebuilding trust, it's like that damn quote, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I had a conversation, someone said it's a marathon, not a race. Like, a marathon is a race. It's a marathon, not a sprint, okay? So just be on it. You got to be consistent. You got to be patient. And you got to be positive. Don't be afraid to acknowledge and appreciate people either, right? Because it's going to be a two-way street. I mean, 2, 3, 4. It depends on how many people you're actually working with. But, everyone that's a part of it is going to have to analyze their roles. You're going to have to see how people's communication style works best. Is this an email person? Is this a video person? Is this a ping, direct message person? Like, what works best? So go learn to trust your team. Do you trust your team? You know what I mean? Do you focus on strategic oversight? Do you help them improve their communication and project management skills? Because when you do that, you both become way more synced, and you become a dynamic team. That's what happens. So, like I said, I'm going to try to keep this one short, but this is why. This is exactly why reflection is so transformative. It's really about turning negative experiences into like learning opportunities. So analyze your own behaviors, gain those insights to your strengths and your weaknesses, and then start growing and improving. Now, I know I said I was going to go through a story, and what I kind of did instead was like I used bits and pieces from a story. I kind of didn't want to tell the story as much as I was starting to open up, because I don't want that person to watch this. But no, seriously, I just wanted to kind of give you guys some points and perspectives to think about within some things that I've been through at work, right? Where I've actually had to like analyze my role as the communicator, like really focus on my communication style, which I'm working on now. I still got to get better at that and then apply these lessons to improve like, the future interactions that I have. So, anyways, look at these challenges as opportunities. That's all I'm going to say. Challenges can be opportunities. Do you look at them that way? Do you recognize the need for ongoing evaluation? If you don't, you probably should. I'm going to leave it at that. I just want to say, like, if you like this video or if there's any, like, notes in here that are helpful for you, like it on the channel, subscribe, share it. Go follow me on TikTok at It's BR Green. Same handle as what you have here. And we'll see you in the next video. Appreciate y'all for watching. Thanks.